In the early 13th century, a small band of friars set out with nothing but their faith, their sandals, and the fire of the gospel in their hearts. They knew the journey ahead could cost them their lives, yet they walked straight into the strongholds of Islam in Morocco, determined to proclaim Christ crucified. Their mission would end in blood, but their witness would inspire generations. Even a young man in Assisi named Anthony, who would later be known as Saint Anthony of Padua. This is the story of Saints Daniel, Samuel, and their companions, the first Franciscan martyrs. By the early 1200s, the Franciscan Order was still young, founded only a decade before by Saint Francis of Assisi. Francis burned with the desire to bring the gospel to every corner of the earth, even to lands hostile to Christianity. Inspired by this vision, several friars volunteered to carry the faith beyond Christendom. Their mission was not conquest, nor power, but pure testimony of Christ crucified. Among them were Daniel, Samuel, Angelo, Domnus, Leo, Nicholas, and Hugolinus, men of prayer, humility, and courage. These friars set out from Italy in 1227, crossing into Spain, where the Christian kingdoms were locked in conflict with Muslim powers. Yet they pressed further south, determined to enter Morocco, a land where the preaching of Christianity was strictly forbidden. They knew the risks. Francis himself had once tried to preach to the Sultan during the Fifth Crusade, barely escaping with his life. But these friars were ready to accept not just hardship, but martyrdom. Upon entering Morocco, the friars began openly proclaiming Christ in the marketplaces and streets. Their boldness drew immediate attention. They were seized and brought before the Sultan of Morocco, who demanded they stop preaching and renounce their mission. But the friars stood firm. They declared that Christ alone was Lord and Savior, and that they would not be silent. Beaten, mocked, and imprisoned, they were given multiple chances to save their lives. Each time they refused.